Hey all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at a pretty cool novelty gadget. It's called the Hey Mix Submarine, and it's a humidifier. Products like this produce mist to keep the air just a bit more cool and breathable in the summertime, and if you're in a really dry environment, it can overall make it better for your skin as well. But that's kind of a boring product. But what makes this model just a little more special is that the mist sprays out in this ring-shaped design that is just really funky and cool. Again, it doesn't necessarily add anything functional, but just increases the cool factor as a novelty gadget. And even the rings can be calibrated with music. There is a microphone that detects sound. Whenever something pops, it will also start to react. And you get this almost collectible looking guy that sits onto the front of the submarine, which is magnetic. Every time that you pop it in, the colors here change and flash. A lot of these interactive details, although the product itself is still quite simple in the sense that all you need to do is plug it in, pop in some water, and you're pretty much ready to go. It doesn't really connect to Wi-Fi or a companion app, so it doesn't have that smart IoT functionality, but it doesn't really need that. Again, just reacts by you playing around with it. It's a conversation starter, and they even have a whole storyline created for this Hey Mix character that is driving the submarine, which is pretty fun. It comes in two little boxes. The first one here has all of these kind of accents going on. Inside of this, which I've already popped open, we have just another kind of detailed card and then the character itself. You can also open up the visor of the character here to kind of open this up if you prefer, and the head can even rotate, as you can see there, to further change the angle as you please, with pretty good accent work going on, which is, I think, important, fun and cute looking. Onto the main attraction, definitely presented really well. I think this kind of fits in the same category as other more niche collectible desk gadgets, such as those funky speakers like the Gravistar series, which are obviously really playful, and they may not necessarily offer more utility compared to just a regular speaker or a regular humidifier in this example, but why not? It just makes it a little bit more fun and shows your personality more. Instructions here are reiterated, telling us how to pop in the tap or mineral water, make sure everything is docked into place. And there's 3 modes, looks like, for the mist. It actually tells us that tap water or mineral water is going to be better than distilled pure water because that's going to make the rings a bit more apparent. Another user guide in here also documents the entire design in this other very neatly presented font. So anyways, here is the body of the submarine itself. Now in the separate compartment, we also have the water tank, which is also a pretty interesting shape. Now we can fill up the water line over here, about 270 milliliters. And there's also in here, it looks like the charging cable. So in order to provide power to this thing, it's using a standard USB Type-C, which is great, and also another figurine head for that character. And last but not least, there is also a power adapter, which is included, pretty standard stuff. But this is actually the base, constructed out of this polycarbonate plastic, but just fill in the water, and then you just put it onto any flat surface or desk. It does have a few rubber pads that prevents it from gliding around, using the sponge that is located underneath these 2 caps. And that's why they give you some replacements if you want to clean that after once in a while. Replace this part that is just sucking up the water into the machine for it to then dispel. The fun details continue. We have a matte polycarbonate plastic, feels pretty solid. It says there's 1 passenger inside, so the whole storyline is continuing. Some accent windows, this tail, which is again interactive, and also the back here with the Type-C port for power. Otherwise, again, this is what it looks like on the other side. Very base here, there's a power key that you can press on to turn it on, as well as go through some of the different modes. The top here is also where that mist or water comes out from, so this can't really house anything, but then we have just that visor or window that you can flip open with the LED lights, and on here you can use either this first character, which is magnetic. He can sit in there like this, swap it with this extra figurine, which is also magnetic because the part here can snap in half. So if you remove that, you can put the guy with the submarine head into the base here, which is again still magnetic, and now he looks like this sitting down. Then you can still swap it with this other simplified head onto the guy's body, and one of them can be just used as a regular figure when not in use. It can just sit onto the desk aside from the actual humidifier, or of course if the humidifier isn't running, nothing is being used, you can put it onto the top there. Again, that's when it's not being turned on and activated. So from a design perspective, I definitely am a fan, and it just looks really cute, I have to admit. It's not going to take up too much space, and overall looks pretty fun. And now it's starting off in the mist, as you can see there, being sprayed along there, and it definitely is producing a pretty obvious mist using a very soft rhythm. And the ring, I think, extends on average to about, I would say, 1 feet or so in terms of height, and it is pretty obvious, especially if you have a slightly darker background. And shifting perspective to the top there, you can really make out those rings, which are getting diffused as they kind of sprout upwards. Now, as alluded to, it is interactive, so things including the color of this LED that this guy is sitting on, if you remove it, the light there actually turns off, as you can see. And if we pop it back on again, it will change to a different color. You'll be left with just a soft glow, which also flashes with the beat of the rings coming out. And I can also put it down again, and the color again changes now back to white. Now, one thing I will say though is to reach that power key at the back, it is a little bit deep. Maybe if they put that key on the side, it might be a little easier to hit in terms of the ergonomics. But I also get it, they're trying to make it look a bit more sleek from a design perspective. In a way, I actually do wish that maybe it has Bluetooth, it can also act as a speaker, or you can connect it to the app to control those settings instead of only relying on this button. But overall, again, it definitely works. Let's tap on it again. Now we're in the more frequent mode, so you can see that the jet streams, the circles are coming out much faster now in terms of the beat, and similarly the pulsating on the front is a quicker flash. I can tap on it once more, and now it'll be in the reactive mode, so the actual pulse is based on the sound that it hears. So as you can hear there, it works well if you're speaking, if you're tapping on the desk, it will register that to the beat of the music and react accordingly, which is pretty fun. Similarly, in this mode, we can play with the tail, and it also works in terms of reacting, making enough of a vibration that the mist will then come out. But as far as efficacy as a humidifier, overall it still produces a similar level of actual moisture in the air that dissipates around the small room that you're in pretty well. So as far as working as a humidifier, that part certainly, I would say, does the job. Overall, that's more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the HeyMix Tempo X Submarine humidifier. It just makes a simple concept like a humidifier so much more fun. Of course, there's always improvements that can be made. If they are going for a second gen model, maybe they can figure out a way to change the intensity of the ring so they can make it higher or lower. That could be also really interesting, since right now all of them are pretty much going up at the same height. Secondly, having maybe some form of Bluetooth or Wi-Fi connection to allow you to monitor or even automate when it's being turned on, going through that different settings via a app could also be a fun touch. There's no denying that this is an incredibly fun and unique desk gadget. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.